to come on. Chemmy, have you ever suffered from imposter syndrome?
Yes, I have, but in a really positive way. So I think we see imposter syndrome as very negative, but you can become someone else or believe or try and be someone else who inspires you as well. So I actually see it the other way. So when I was coming back from injuries, I was hurting. I had a lot of pain in my body. I didn't know if I could charge down a slope at 93 miles an hour. So what I did was I channeled being Lindsay Vonn, who's a really good friend of mine. She never knew that I was trying to be her.
Oh no.
And so I was like, right, how would Lindsay act? How would she be? How would she warm up? And literally it convinced me that I could perform again. And I only needed to do that a few times, put myself in her head to then be confident enough to be me again. So actually there are ways that you can use it to better yourself and for personal growth as well.
Yeah, I just find it fascinating. I suffer from imposter syndrome because I just want to be like Mark. And one day, but there's this thing I just love at the moment. It was when was this? It was February or April time. They had Tony Blair on Talk Radio, and the interviewer said, "Tony, have you ever suffered from imposter syndrome?" And he said, "What's that?" And everyone was still debating as to whether he was playing up for the cameras. But someone like you, Chemmy, oh my God, you can't have imposter syndrome when you're about to go, because that's what you do. You just can't, can you?
But like you saying, you use Mark as as inspiration to you. I think you can't second guess yourself. Okay, you have to be authentic, but there are times where you can use someone else's confidence to your own advantage, putting yourself in someone's body that you inspire to. I mean, how many times have you wanted to lose weight and put a picture of someone with a banging body on your fridge to stop you snacking?
Yeah.
That's goal setting, using someone else to better yourself. So it can be healthy.
Okay, so are you recommending I put a picture of Mark on my fridge and that will make me feel better? Got it. Okay, right. Okay, all the social media lights are green. Should we start? Right, everyone. Hello, my name is Max McGillivray from Beanstalk Global. We are with the amazing Chemmy. We're with the amazing Mark from AHDB on our Talking Leaders series. Chemmy, it's great to have you on again. Just for all those especially on the podcast, I just want to give a bit of background on yourself, Chemmy, so everyone knows who you are. We all know who you are, but let's just reiterate that. So Chemmy is an English former World Cup Alpine race racer and a fiercely determined and courageous sportswoman. As the only British female skier to ever win a run in a World Cup, she's widely regarded as one of Britain's greatest ever skiers. Having broken 49 bones, Chemmy is no stranger to adversity and remains committed to inspiring the next generation and educating people from all over the world through sport. Backed by popular demand, in the second episode of Staying on Top of Your Mountain, we delve further into what it took for her to become so successful despite some very major setbacks, and how you can apply some of her tips to stay at the top of our mountain. And Chemmy, before we find out where you're going, because we hear you're going slightly south of Bognor Regis shortly, very, very shortly. Mark, can you just give a bit of background as to the AHDB and Talking Leaders so everyone is fully aware, please?
So thank you, Max, and morning, Chemmy. It's great to have you back on the series. Talking Leaders. It's just an informal chat where we try and gain some insights from individuals like Chemmy from outside of agriculture, and see how we could apply those into agriculture and just learn a bit about themselves and have a bit of fun as well.
So Chemmy, we've got to know. So south of Bognor Regis, where are you going very, very shortly? What's the next gig you're on?
So I turned 40 this year, and having a semi-midlife crisis, I wanted to do something. I think coming out the pandemic, it's all about life experiences. And as everyone knows, I'm all about pushing myself out my comfort zone. So I wanted to do a crazy event where I pushed myself out my limit, where there was no snow involved and I could immerse myself culturally in an experience. I'm also quite time precious at this time of year because ski Sunday is about to start. So I found this event. It's the Great Amazonian River Raft Race, where you fly down to the Amazon, then you go into the jungle, you build your own raft. They give you a few materials, you build your own raft, and then you paddle 180 kilometers in 3 days, camping on the riverbank, hopefully away from the Cayman along the way. So it's 10 to 12 hours of paddling. I've been training on the Thames on my stand-up paddleboard. It's been absolutely divine. I've done about 20 miles, I'd say. It was all I've managed to get in there, but I think it's going to be definitely mind over matter for us. And I know it's going to be amazing, but I know it's going to be horrendous too.
Wow. Mark, what do you reckon? Should we follow Chemmy?
Yeah, no. Yes. It sounds an awesome experience. For all the hype, what's the bit that you're not looking forward to, or the bit that's probably going to push you a bit harder? Is it the creepy crawlies? Is it the being in the jungle? Is it the river?
I think I really struggle to sleep when I am really fatigued. So as a ski racer, I'm very good at pushing myself for very short periods of time. When I think I will be able to do the endurance. I also see myself as the hype woman on our raft. I'm very good at trying to pick people up. We've got two lads behind me. One's my husband and one's one of our best mates who's a builder and a young lad. So my role is to bring them up and make sure that we can all keep going as efficiently as possible. But I'm worried that I won't be able to rest at night and get enough nutrition in. I'm very terrible when I'm hungry. I am like hanger, on steroids. So I'm really worried about being hungry. I've also just found out today that I'm supposed to be providing nutrition for the whole raft myself, so I've just done some panic buying, and we'll see. I mean, listen, I think the good thing with this is that it's an experience in terms of going culturally immersive into it. There's amazing adventure races around the world that are advertised beautifully and marketed to the top and tail, whereas this is the marketing's not great. There are 27 local teams and 5 international teams. It's very much a locals race. We're going to go against the grain and try and build a catamaran style raft, which no one's ever done, because we're not strong enough to do 10 hours on one side. So we need to be able to go from one side to the other because we haven't trained as much as we should have. So that's going to be a bit of a challenge. But what I'm excited about that is my role is to go and flirt with all the locals and get extra materials as opposed to actually do any of the building.
Yeah, you're going to end up with a 60-foot luxury yacht, aren't you?
To use my toilet on the back. No, I've had to buy one of those shiwis.
Stop it.
I have. Well, the big issue there's a big issue actually in this part of the Amazon for men, because of the penis swimming fish. I'm not sure if we're allowed to say this.
Yeah.
And we did this big safety briefing, and the first thing they said is, right, I know everyone's worried about this. There's 2 ways to combat it. The first is you can just tie a knot in it. And I'm thinking, wow, that's a big measure. I mean, I don't know how lucky I've been in my life. But no one reacted to that. And then they said, you can wear one of those cricket
boxes.
Boxes.
Yeah. Okay.
So thankfully I don't have to worry about that, because they only like the boys, the men.
Yeah. So Chemmy, when you've done events like this, and also with your skiing career, it's a bit of an odd question. Have you ever suffered the dead cat bounce? So just explain to people if they don't know that I've met people who've travelled around the world, who've done Marathon de la Sabres, done extreme marathon. A perfect example. I had a friend of mine who did the you go around the world on the yachts.
Clipper race.
Yeah, the Clipper race, and he was away for 11 months, and just when the day he left, he said goodbye to his mates in the pub. 11 months later, he came back and he saw his mates in the pub, and they talked to him for 10 minutes about it, and then they started talking about EastEnders, and he was like, they're not interested, and he suffered for a week afterwards. This what he called this dead cat bounce. Is that something that you suffered from, and if you do, is that why you're constantly running on to the next thing?
Yeah, I think you get addicted with kind of pushing yourselves and finding experience that a lot of people, first of all, aren't fortunate enough to be able to do things like this. I'm very lucky with my work and the brand that I've made. Actually, this helps me continue to grow. So next time I come on Talking Leaders, I'm going to talk about this mental idea I had where I'm there's a strong chance I might fail. And this is why I continue to, I'm not just talking the talk. I'm out there, I'm walking it, and paddling it. So I just think it's part of who I am. I haven't done it for a few years because I've got 2 young kids, and I just need to do this for my own confidence in myself, that I still have that something about me that's special, that was why I could be a downhill ski racer. So yes, I think a lot of my friends don't understand that at all, and this is their idea of complete hell. So when I talk to them, instead of getting the excitement bounce back, I just feel fear. But that's part of it. That's part of it. Their challenge might not be 180 kilometers paddling down the Amazon. Theirs might be the 2 kilometer swim. Exactly. But it's just making it all relative. And obviously, I have a very high threshold for fear, and a very, almost addictive personality when it comes with finding that and getting in it. So you do have to keep pushing yourself, which is why people start going crazier and crazier.
But that's why we wanted you on, so that you can rub some of this off us, so that we can set our own little challenges. Everyone has a complicated life, but everyone needs that positive challenge, something to look forward to. Chemmy, do you think? Mark, do you think?
Definitely. It's how we grow. If we don't have goal setting where we push ourselves, so many people set their goals so that they'll attain them, because then they can tick that box and they will live a life of success for them. But it's not success if you're not pushing yourself continually to take those risks, and sometimes failing. That is success. So that's why you've got to actually be honest and go, okay, I could be here, but what about trying to be here and knowing that it might not get there? I might not get there. My business might not get there. But still, by trying and attaining, launching for the stars, you will grow.
Yeah. One of you two, sorry, Mark, one of you two came out with the saying last time: comfort begins at the end of the comfort zone. So Mark, are you in agreement with this? Do you think that everyone dialed in? We need to, whether it be, as Chemmy sort of alluded to, a swim, a walk, or taking a week out to walk out Mount Kenya, just to have something, a goal to look at, to be excited about.
No, you've definitely got to have that goal, and you've got to push yourself. And I can remember in my last role as a lecturer managing a team of 14 people at an agricultural college, that one thing that I said in my leading speak is we were continually pushed by the leadership team and the board of governors to do better and do better, which those goals were right up there. And sometimes it seems such a mountain to climb, but if you keep pedaling, you might actually get to the goal. If you stop pedaling, like Chemmy says, I've done that, tick, that's where you can't continue to drive to success. So you've just got to keep going and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone.
Also, Mark, when a leader puts those goals in place for you, their belief in you is huge. They really inspired by your talents that you can make it. So yes, they're trying to push you, but they wouldn't be able to do that if they didn't, back you. So I would say, when your goals are set by someone else and they feel like they're really daunting, pat yourself on the back and be like, okay, there's obviously a reason that they've set this so challenging for me, because they really believe that I can get there.
And guys, wandering around the subject of imposter syndrome, or whatever you want to call Chemmy, how can we, your inner strength, you mentioned this word about failure, but you sort of talked about it like it was a telephone directory. How do you get that inner strength to make sure that you, of course we fail sometimes, but you got to keep going. But if you're positive and optimistic and got that stamina, how can we keep going? Chemmy, how could, whether it be this mad trip you're doing in the Amazon, or whether it be in business, or whether it be in relationships, how can we keep going?
I mean, the way to make peace with failure is trusting that you have done everything in your power to be your very best, because that's all you can be, this 100%. I mean, the worst thing I hear coaches say is, go out there, be 110%. There isn't 100%, 10% of you. There is 100% of you. And if you are doing everything you can do, then wherever you get to, despite not achieving a goal, on paper it's failure, but you trust that you've done everything you can, whether that's in a relationship, whether that's with your work. And it's just another opportunity. If we're perfect beings, we have no opportunity for improvement. If we're imperfect and we're always trying to work on ourselves, then we will always find success.
Yeah. And support. Are you a solo? Is that what's the English? What's the grammar? A solo operator, or do you get support? Do you pull on support to create that success?
Yeah, I mean, I made my life in an individual sport, which having a team around you full of support and belief in you was imperative. I couldn't go out there and push myself on the mountain without my physio, without the trust of my coach telling me how the conditions were, without teammates. You need all of this around you. And it's the same in life after racing. My husband, my team, my kids, a lot of me pushing myself in this challenge is to show my kids that it's okay to be scared of something. I mean, I learned to skateboard this year, and they were like, why did you do that? And I learned to skateboard in front of my kids, who kept seeing me falling over and swearing and getting angry. And then eventually we went out and they saw me do it. And they ran up to me. Oh, there's only 2 of them. They ran up to me and they congratulated me. They said, oh, how great is that? You can finally do it. And you had all that tough times and now you can do it. And they're 5 and 3 and they can recognize that struggle is part of the journey. So this is something, again, I'm kind of doing as a parent, and Dougie and I together, to go, look, this is wild, this is wacky, and we might fail, but we've gone out there and given it our best go anyway. And I think they're at that age where they can start recognizing that now. And it's very important to have leaders or people you look up to who are not achieving their goals, who talk about it and the whys and how would they do it differently.
Yeah. And failures, whether that be in life or sports, what would your advice be to us as to try and create that positive from a negative? How can we learn from our failures?
Well, we reflect. So often when we win, we go, right, okay, why have we won? That's great. Okay, we've won because we were the best at this and this and this, our team, and we're best at this, and we got this job because of this. When we fail, we rarely reflect. And when we do reflect, we target one person, one area that we see as the reason behind it, because we love pointing a finger instead of going, okay, next time we do it, this is our opportunity. All of this, I talk about this cog a lot. I talked about it on this before, all of this cog, all of these individual reasons why we are able to keep rolling that big tractor wheel forward is because we work together. So if we know that all these areas are strong, let's all think about this area that is the one holding our business back. And I think it's always an opportunity. Everything is an opportunity to grow, to look at the whys and reevaluate. So reflect on why you made mistakes and make different choices next time.
Mark, you must have seen this in business in your various roles over the years. That the better people I come across are those that have gone that extra mile and they've had the pressure stretched, and because they've been stretched, they know it's like what do you get in, Chemmy? What's it called in sports? Memory muscle.
Muscle memory.
If you have, thank you. If you have that on a mental perspective as well as a physical perspective, Mark, that's going to help you better in business, isn't it?
Oh, hugely. And if, like you say, if you don't try things and don't make those mistakes, you're not going to learn and push them forward. And again, I think the reflection point that you made, Chemmy, is really, really, really important. But do we also need to do that if we win, if we're successful? And
yes, but we naturally do.
Why we're successful,
yeah.
And if you're in some kind of competitive environment, there still needs to be we need to reflect and maybe adapt and make some changes. That's what why the New Zealand All Blacks as a sporting team and the most successful sporting team in the world, because when they're at the top of their game, they change the game, and that's really important.
And that takes a lot of confidence to take those risks. But when you are at the top, you have got a massive target. It's quite easy to get to the top, but to stay at the top is really challenging, because people can copy your format. They can copy, okay, this farm's done X, Y, and Z, and they're getting all of the profits in. So let's copy them. So then you've got to do something different to stay unique, to stay special. Now, doing something different and changing yourself might be a risk too far, but you'll only know if you take that risk, because you can always come back to here. Oh, well, okay, we were the best. We can always come back to that level, but how can we push ourselves further? And that's what takes a huge confidence. And Mark, that's where you need a strong leader to believe in and inspire you to make that change when you're at the top.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, just want to give a bit of a negative example, because what we want to talk about how we can demonstrate a growth mindset. But just give you this wacky example. I met this individual 5-6 years ago, and he was so pumped up because he and his partner, they'd at a new year, they created the mind map, where their career goal for that year, and they put it on their fridge along with the picture of Mark. They put it on the fridge, and they were reviewing it not weekly but daily as to how they were going to achieve what they were going to achieve. The poor chap got burnt out, and he was an ops director within an agricultural business. He got burnt out, and the relationship failed on the back of that, because they just got so aggressive towards each other about trying to attain these goals. And he's now driving a lorry and very, very happy with it. Chemmy, how do we get it to a point so it's second nature? It's like I want to walk the dog, I want to go for a run, I want to do something with the kids, rather than what the British are like sometimes. They're a bit reticent about this compared to, say, the likes of the Americans. How do we create a growth mindset that's not going to hack us off?
Okay, so when I coach skiing, if I have a beginner, I don't go to the top of a black run and go, right, we're going to go 80, 90 miles an hour on a black run. That's what some people do. They think, okay, now I'm going to be this new person. I'm going to set goals and I'm going to do the black run goals. Now, I am talking about, we started off talking about setting your goals high enough that they're not easy to achieve. But you've got to think about your self-preservation as well. So let's go back to skiing. It's a very good analogy for this. Yep. If I took Mark at the top, no, actually, Mark, you're a good skier, aren't you?
Yeah, what's good?
Max, how's your skiing? I need a beginner.
You need Isaac.
Okay, so Max, I'm trying to teach you to ski. I'm trying to make you confident. We got to the top of the black run. You see this 70 degrees gradient and you freak out. And when you freak out, your body goes into shock and you start bracing. Now there's no way unless I carry you.
Let me give you a direct example. A number of years ago, I went to Kitzbühel with a bunch of mates. Turns out that my mate's brother was a Cambridge Blue. He nearly killed me. It put me off skiing for 3 years.
Well, there you go. So that's what's happened to your friend who is now the lorry driver. Okay, so he's gone to that black run. He's freaked out. His body's gone into shock, and then he's had to take the lift down, which his ego has been completely deflated, and he's had to reinvent himself. Or you take those baby steps that we talk about. You go, right, okay, I would take you to a green run. You would feel bloody amazing. I would show you some skills, and you'd be like, Chemmy, I have got this. Let's move on. Okay. And then, I pump up your ego. We go to the next slope. We go to the next slope. At the end of the day, you are definitely challenged. Okay. But it's a challenge that if you're with someone who's a pro, you will be able to do it because I believe in you. So I think that is really important. And that's ironically, I think skiing is a really good analogy in terms of, this growth mindset and not achieving it and where to set the goals.
Yeah. Yeah, just to complete my story, it got to the point with this Cambridge Blue skier that I was shoveling snow in my mouth because I was getting so dehydrated, and they'd gone. I was at the top of this mountain, mogul field, and I was completely bereft. I think I might even have cried. There you go. And Mark wasn't there to save me.
No.
So I suppose, Chemmy, with a team, on a team perspective, everyone's different, isn't there? There are going to be those individuals who are going to be the Cambridge Blue types, but there's going to be those that need to be on the green run. And I suppose that comes into teaching the trainer so that everyone appreciates their different skill sets, so that you can create that cohesive team, so the team becomes as one. Chemmy?
Yeah, definitely. I think you don't want a whole team of Cambridge Blue skiers because there's no one to improve. There is no one to go, okay, actually, we had you at a beginner and now you're an expert. So you have more growth when you've got different color spectrum of abilities or different skill sets, because you can all add something to it. So that beginner in your Cambridge Blue team will be so high on life and so happy that happiness and that passion will filter into the group because they're learning something really new. That Cambridge Blue, they'll feel so honored because they've been able to teach someone their skills. So you get this real big bubble of growth when you have different spectrums of performance. So I run a ski race team, and it was really important when we started that we didn't just choose elite level skiers. We have elite level skiers, but we have guys from grassroots who are just getting into a race team. And with that, we've now created a family. So there's a mental system. There's no overtly kind of personal conflict in taking each other's place in the team, because everyone provides something different in that team. And we do that. And the kids we coach are 12 to 18 years old, and it really does work in that mindset as well. So having someone who's high on talent and high on confidence, but is at the top end of their journey, it's all fine tuning. Whereas someone down here, huge amount of potential growth, but needs someone at the top to support that.
Yep. So the more that we can present individuals with other individuals who could better them without realizing that they're being bettered, and so that answer could be within a business or it could be externally. Hence why we got you on today, Chemmy. So what are we saying on that side? That businesses should look to adopt that mentorship aspect, and bring other people to assist.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when Dougie and I are looking to grow our business at the beginning, we were like, right, we need another ski racer to come on board. We are ski racers. That's what we need. But actually we looked at it and went, well, why would we want another ski racer when that's our talent? If we get a ski instructor who can look at the technique of a skier with a totally different eye, not from a speed perspective, but from a foundation perspective, then we will all be better at what we're doing. And it was really interesting because that's not what we thought at the beginning. We really tried to narrow down and find another one of us. And that's sometimes what our ego says we need to do. But actually, no, you need to be honest and go, okay, these are my weaknesses. Who can fulfill some of this and bring an asset to our team?
Yeah, and I suppose that's why the likes of an Andy Murray has a coach. He is or was the best of the world, but he always had a coach, and presumably that's the same with you, Chemmy. You just need that critical friend, that mentor, to be able to assist and guide you on your progress.
Yeah, because you always have somewhere where you can be better, whether you're a world leader or, you know, you're FTSE 100, like wherever you're at, you have got to believe that you can be better. And if your ego is telling you you're the best in the world, then you're not going to be a great leader. Yeah. You know, you want to, it's not about showing vulnerability to everyone, but it's about being honest that there are places where you can be better.
So Mark, how do we get around this one, that our sector is very male dominated, and we're quite siloed in our thinking. We're not very open, and sometimes we're the worst for asking for help or accepting help. With what we're learning from Chemmy, from part one and now part two, how do you think, Mark, we can develop that within the sector? How can we get especially men to be open?
I think whether you're talking about openness or diversity or attracting different people into the industry, I think the key bit which Chemmy mentioned, and I wrote down small steps for big leaps, and it's just making that move and that step to actually do something a little bit differently, whether it be talking about your mental fitness or whether it be in having a job application and there's 4 blokes and 2 girls. It's being brave to go, actually, one of the females is the better suited candidate on paper. Let's give them a go, because we do stereotypically, this is no disrespect to the industry, we are a male, pale and stale kind of industry, which variety is the spice of life. We don't all want the same piece of jigsaw puzzle in the puzzle. We want multiple ones so we can complete the picture. Yeah.
And Chemmy, just to give you another example, just picking up on something that you said earlier about sometimes it's quite easy to get to the top. And within our sector, I'm always adamant that our sector is getting better, but is not as sophisticated as, say, engineering or aeronautics. I remember meeting an individual about 6 years ago, and he was top of his game. He was running the best farm. I won't say where the farm is. Best farm. It had the best diversification. He was married, had 2 or 3 kids. For externally, he looked very happy. When I got talking to him, he admitted to me he was broken. He'd been working this unit, this farm, for 35 years. It was relentless, and he was just everyone and everything, and all the pressures were on him, and he was broken, and he didn't know how he was going to take it further forward. So you got that example. You got someone at the top of their game, and he wants to maintain it, but he just felt mentally, emotionally that he couldn't go on. Chemmy, how do you deal with situations like that?
I mean, that is so tough, isn't it? Like putting everything in your life into one goal, and then when you get there, realizing that goal doesn't create happiness for you. And also quite a lot of people like the chase. So actually, the way to get to that goal is far more enjoyable than the satisfaction at when you reach it. I mean, that's a really, really sad story, because obviously farming is such hard graft, and I've been so fortunate to meet incredible farmers through you, Mark, and just understanding the sacrifices that they make to just earn a livelihood, let alone be the best at what they do.
Sorry, Chemmy, just let me interject, because it was a sad story, but he and his wife had a conversation. They sold the business, and now he's an investor, and now he is as happy as pie. So again, with your example of what do you do when you get to the top? He reinvented himself. He got there. He didn't need to be opening up the office at 5:30 in the morning. He'd done all that. He could hand it over to someone else, and now he's investing in other companies, and he's become that mentor.
But I think farming, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but I think farming is changing that way. I mean, when I spoke to a lot of the businesses after I spoke with you, a lot of the owners were coming up and saying, look, we've never really talked about stuff like this. We've never all faced adversity like we are right now. And the only way for us to get through it is to create community. And we talked about this the last time I was on, because it's that shared the shared resources that will help you all prevail. So that gentleman who owns that farm, by getting to the top and having the confidence to admit, actually, this is hell. This isn't what I wanted. There are people who can take that on who really enjoy it. So I think talking and saying, especially to men, this is not sexism, but men keep everything in. They push it under the carpet. They think that there's a certain person they're supposed to be, a certain leader they're supposed to be, so they don't talk about their fears and vulnerability. But everyone has them, especially with these hardships that we're facing in the industry right now and for the next few years at least, that if we all share those fears lessen, because you're not the only one out there, struggling.
Well, for a second, let's just talk about the elephant in the room. We've got one of the highest suicide rates of all industry sectors, because there's a lot of farmers like that farmer I mentioned who just feel so isolated. They live and breathe, and their whole social life is as one with the farm. They can't do a 40-minute commute and see the family who know nothing about their business and reset overnight before they go. They're with it the whole time. So Mark, this whole bit about communication, it does feel like it's getting better, but there's more that could be done.
There's always more that can be done, but I think you're bang on right that we are getting better at the industry. The industry is facing huge amounts of challenges, like we all are on our day-to-day lives, and the only way to get through that is to open up, to chat about these things, to look at things from a different perspective, and to push everything forward.
Yeah, and guys, you must have found the same, that when I've been on training courses, or I've done, I'm trying to compare myself to Chemmy. I've biked from London to Cape Town. No, not London. I've motorbiked from London to Cape Town. I've biked from Vietnam to Cambodia and some other stuff. When I've been on those trips, it's fascinating that the people that you meet that you've never met before, they've all got the same problems. But actually you can, because you're not emotionally involved with them, you can say, oh yeah, well, why don't you do this and do that? And I've got a mate back home who can help me with over here. Again, Chemmy, you must see that all the time. That it's all about communication.
Yeah, I mean, I think the people I've met in life who have the most demons are some of the sports psychologists that I worked with through my career, who just heard issues the whole time, absorbed it, who had a really amazing skill to support other people and heal themselves, but didn't heal themselves. And the other thing that's an issue here is social media. And I know that in farming, it's now, LinkedIn's really, really popular, and all you see is successful posts. You're never going to get a farmer post, guys, I've just had, a nightmare. This has happened. But actually that rose tinted, we need to know that is not real. Everyone is just showing their best sides, or we need to somehow get people to share the struggles that they're going through on social media, which takes a lot of confidence, but is nearly always received really well. That honest approach of, our business has done really well here, but actually this has been a complete disaster. Is anyone else feeling this? Yes.
Well done. Can I give you my example about money? Because I think in the way our culture is all built, especially with men, the only way we can be successful is to have a bunch of supercars and a bunch of houses and all the rest of it. I've got a friend who's an art director for a very large art house in London, and he gets commissioned to buy £1 million plus pictures by high net worth individuals, and as he states, they're the most unhappiest people in the world. When you meet them, all they're doing is buying art, cars, staying in la-di-da hotels or doing la-di-da holidays for instant gratification, because they've got nothing else. They buy a piece of art and it keeps them happy for a couple of days, and then they're very depressed, and then they move on to the next thing. So it's not all about money. Chemmy, Mark, it's all about family, adventure, challenging each other, help me guys, going to that extra stage. Mark?
Yeah.
So I was on mute. Yeah, no, it is. Money makes the world go round, obviously, but it's not. It doesn't bring you the success. And if you think of a farmer, that the pride of producing that product to the highest of standards and things like that, they're the little things that really make you tick and make you get up in the morning, to be able to support your family, and to be around loved ones and friends and things like that is definitely where we're at.
Yeah. And Chemmy, I'm guessing that you to me that you're so happy doing this. you must have been so happy. You must be so happy doing Ski Sunday. You must be so happy when you're.
I mean, this is the fact that people want to even hear from me now, Max, is such an honor, because I wanted to win the Olympics. I spent 20 years of my life chasing that dream to win the Olympics, but I didn't. and I didn't achieve it. But I still, 10 years after I retired, get to use the life lessons I've learned, not just for me, but to help other people. And that is such an honor to be in that position. And I think it's because I've always been fine to talk about mistakes I made, my failures, what I learned, opportunities for improvement. Whereas a lot of people, don't achieve their goals and they find excuses straight away. Whereas I was like, no, I don't want to find excuses. I want to find reasonings and what I can do better next time. So it's such an honor to be able to be in this position and, to work on Ski Sunday. My dream was to win the Olympics and work on Ski Sunday. And, my life is unbelievably amazing now because I'm getting to live my 5-year-old dream of doing that. But I think I'm doing my second goal, my second dream, because I didn't achieve my first. Excellent. I think I'm a better perspective at looking from a third person point of view at the sport that I love because I didn't win. So that's why I'm better at becoming a presenter. Yeah,
it's a bit like that American car sticker. He who dies with the most toys wins. What rubbish. To have someone like yourself, Chemmy, where you're feeling more fulfilled because of everything that you set up and nearly got to, but you're even happier. And through this lovely process of osmosis, we can learn from you. Mark, so what can we learn from Chemmy on episode 2 that we didn't learn on episode 1? That we need to communicate. We need to have a challenge. It sounds like we need to have a challenge, perhaps in business, but also on a social basis. You can just imagine that conversation down the pub, the club, the sailing club, the shooting club, whatever it was. Guys, why don't we go and bike to Paris next year? I'm just setting those positive challenges, and then everyone's. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, no, definitely all up for setting challenges and goals. But I'm really interested in that point that you made there, that goal number 2 and being on Ski Sunday is a result of maybe not quite achieving that dream, even though being really, really successful. And I can remember being knocked down for a really senior job position, which at the time was the worst thing in the world, and probably like you when you didn't quite get it. But in hindsight and reflecting and be slightly a little older and wise, that was probably the most poignant moment of my career, and it made me the person that I am today, that I didn't doom and gloom and I picked myself up and pushed myself forward. But I'd really be interested that you had a fantastic career on the mountain, you're now coaching, you're presenting. What is there any bits from that professional sporting life, things, elements, tactics, strategies or tools that you now use on a day-to-day basis to continue that momentum building yourself at the moment?
Yeah, I think I've learned to choose positivity. I mean, I remember for 10 years of my life waking up every single day with pain. My metal right leg used to fuse overnight. I used to get horrendous swelling. What? And I just woke up and I chose to look at the sunny side. I chose to look at, this is my body saying it's healing. I've got pain because it's reacting to this, and at the end of the day, that is part of me and my road to recovery. And I think that choosing positivity is really hard, and actually sometimes you have to act it. Sometimes you wake up and it's a rainy day and everything seems like it's closing in on you. But if you can look in the mirror and find something to be positive about, or, use self-talk. I used to use self-talk all the time. I used to get my lipstick sometimes in hotels and write something on the mirror because I knew I was in a dark place. The next morning when I woke up, I could read, I am brave, I am brilliant, and I can do this. And there's no harm in doing that. You don't have to use red lipstick. You don't have to have a mirror. You just have to find something to be positive about, because that positivity then breeds more positivity in yourself. And it just stops you going to those dark places that our brain and our inner chimp is always trying to lead us to making these bad decisions for ourselves. Whereas actually, sometimes we can take ourselves out of that by choosing something else or finding light somewhere.
Yeah. There was a study on the radio last night. They were talking about the average age for the midlife crisis, which is apparently 48, because everything's combining against you. High stress at work, kids are getting a bit shouty, family pressures, and that's when we all go out and buy a motorbike, buy a sports car, or go to the Amazon. Chemmy, no, joking. Chemmy, when you conquered the Amazon, apart from Ski Sunday, which I can't wait to watch, I just wish they could show how steep Kitzbühel is.
I know.
What's next? Come on, what's the plan? What's next? Tell us.
Well, I just want to keep finding things that push me out my comfort zone. I've recently got my powerboat license because I think everyone knows this, but I'm really into the electric transport modes and enjoyment modes. So I've been writing to Flightboard, which is a surfboard on foils, on hydrofoils. I think you've seen them, electric ones. And finally, I'm picking one of those up to borrow tomorrow from the Southampton Boat Show for a couple of months, because I want my pleasure to try and be good using good renewable energy now too. I drive electric car, and I am hoping to be a pilot on the e-powerboat tour, which is going to be coming to us soon. So, I might not get that. There's a lot of people up for that. I don't have a huge amount of skill, but I would love to get my teeth into pushing myself at something. During this challenge, I've started training in the gym for boxing to get my shoulders ready for paddling. And I'm thinking about maybe looking into a few fights as well, because I think that would be really fun to be a female fighter at 40 with 2 kids.
Yeah.
Everyone has these ideas of who I am and this glamorous artist on a ski slope TV, and I just want to keep surprising people. I want to keep surprising myself and other people about what I'm prepared to push myself into.
Mark, Chemmy's just the gift that keeps on giving, isn't she?
Yeah, and I reckon if you can sneak that board to the Amazon, that might give you a bit more of a lift on actually winning. And with a builder on board, just excess luggage and tools and stuff.
We're not even allowed to put a rudder on the raft for directional. That's cheating. So I think they might notice my foil.
I think for me, Chemmy, and I've had the privilege of meeting you a couple of times. But the one thing that really resonates with me is the glamorous bit and being in the limelight, but you really do come across as a real person. And little things like the email that I sent off of a connection with someone we used, you responded and you engaged with me, and you're always very friendly and smiley, and you'll tell me if it's wrong, but that you're a real person, and you're not. I see you on the TV, and the kids now go, "Oh, that's Chemmy off the telly that Daddy speaks to on a call." But you're just a real person, that you've had this passion to persevere in your dream, and then maybe didn't quite get there, but you've used that to catalyze the next one and the next one.
Mark, how can I know you're not saying it in that way, but how can you say it? Chemmy's only about 40, and it feels like there's another 15 chapters of her career to come in the respect of
a regular slot.
I'm only doing all these things, so you keep inviting me back on this.
Every September.
But next you'll be climbing into a boat in Monaco going,
Imagine the year I don't do anything. You're going to be like, well, what happened? You've had a year off doing stuff. Come on.
No, we'll hold you to that, and we'll book you in for next September.
But guys, I think this is where this Talking Leaders series really works with likes of Chemmy and all the other people that we've had on, that we can be very siloed and isolated in our wacky world of agriculture and farming, and just to have Chemmy, the likes of you on, and just explode our minds as to, well, Chemmy, we can do what you do. It's just a matter of walking out the bloody door and doing it. It's not rocket science, and you don't mind me saying that, and that's why we want you on, because we want to figuratively hold your hand and sort of follow you around and think, well, actually I like paddleboarding, it'd be a great idea. I
had a meeting the other day, and these guys have done quite a lot of research into me and said, oh, we see you're like obsessed with the gym and lifting weights. Is that what you want to do, lift weights? I'm like, no. Well, why do you train all the time? And I was like, well, I train so that I'm ready to say yes, so that whatever might be put in my pathway tomorrow, whatever opportunity might happen, I'm ready to say yes. And I think that if we can apply that saying yes to our mental, I've got time to physically train every day. A lot of people don't, but to leave a little bit of time every day to mentally get ready so that you're prepared, so that whatever happens, you can say yes, is a really incredible position that you can choose to put yourself into.
Yeah. Well said. Mark, do you want to wrap up for us as we're slightly running out of time?
I was going to say, it's brilliant. There's one last little question that we'll just squeeze in, because I've had the privilege. I actually probably, after the challenges we had at our AgriLeader forum, no Chemmy's presentation back to back for dealing with it online. But your strap line for that is, I never lose, I always win or learn. what little bit of nugget of advice would you give to a farmer or an agriculturalist, someone in the UK, to actually adopt that, live that statement within their day-to-day lives of producing great British food?
Well, don't be the same every day. Try and be different. Try and do something unique every single day, whether it's drive your tractor a different way along the field and see what happens. Take a chance to be different, to be unique, because that outcome might really surprise you in terms of your personal, in terms of your business growth. And it might not, but if it doesn't, you can always go back to that. So I never lose. Either I win or I learn. I go out there, I push myself, and in a win-lose situation, it might result in not the podium, but then I will learn from that.
Absolutely.
As the saying goes, life begins at the end of the comfort zone. I'm going to say you said that last time around. We're just going to adopt that again. It was because it's just Mark, it's so personal, isn't it?
Oh, it's brilliant. And again, Chemmy, we're more than welcome to have you on the broadcast every September.
Thanks.
Because you just bring us such a brilliant dynamic to all of these subjects. But I think today, if we're going to kind of wrap up and things, the key things is push yourself out of your comfort zone, try some different things. Be really positive. The glass is always half full, but we don't try and eat the cake all in one go. Do it bit by bit and take that little step to do something different and push things forward. But no, really, really good, really interesting.
Well done, Chemmy. Thank you very much, and we wish you all the best for the Amazon. And we look forward to the next 15 chapters of your life story. It's gonna be amazing. Chemmy, well done.
Next September, you guys have to come back at something that you've done at your comfort zone in the next year, okay?
I'll hold you to that.
I've got mine. It's gonna be a full-size poster of Mark outside my house. Well done, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.